Greetings, Sebastian Komor here. Today I will go through the whole Cubase session of the Komor Kommando song one by one. And what you see on the screen is the entire song as heard on the EP. So without further ado, let's just play through the whole thing so you can see what happens and where it happens. And then I'll go into detail about every element of the song, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's press play. Alright, so that's the song as heard in Cubase and on the EP. Now, I was thinking of going through each part, so the way I usually do things is have things in groups just for the sake of, easy to solo each element, like the drums. You can hear all the synths by themselves, all the vocals by themselves. I just love having that group thing. And of course, I process the groups individually just to glue things together. So let's start with the drums. Let's see, I have the camera sort of in the way here, so let's find the button here. And I tend to sequence audio, unlike using a MIDI or a drum machine. I don't know where that habit comes from. it's just nice to have every hit on its own. You know, I do a lot of like little edits on the go, but let's hear what's going on with the drums. And of course, they are going through the drum group. There's some processing there. I'll go through that later. So let's just hear what the drums do. Gotta love that fat 808. So a little hit there. Here's like sort of when the bass comes in. My old faithful clank sound. You can hear some good amount of saturation on the kick. Just adds that attitude and crunch. There's a verse. I'm really stoked about this blurp perk. It's a sample that I've just messed around with. Just like that vibe to it. Just kind of so yeah, let's go to the halftime part. I just love that halftime thing, and as you can see, use something I call a glass snare. I just think it adds like a cool element to the snare. And of course, the energetic, somewhat aggressive nature of the song, plus this. So a big part of the sound. Nice in stereo. So if you add that to the snares, kind of as without it, and then everything. And of course, a little bit of rock vibes with the so we're back to that part. Let's see what other elements. The drums. God, love that 808. Nothing going on here. Yeah, see, this is one of the reasons I like audio sequencing, because I can just quickly do this in reverse without like having to, render later. Just it's all on the fly whenever you feel like something should happen. More halftime. Yeah, so nothing really else happening that you didn't hear earlier. So let's check out what I'm doing to the sounds. Let's hear the kick. Everyone's favorite, the kick. I'll mute the plugins I use on it. Didn't sound that much different, did it? Because there's... Yeah, let's mute every other... There, now it's starting to sound different. So one of my favorite plugins, as overall, is this, the AMIC 9099 from Plugin Alliance. It sounds great. 2, it has a lot of useful features, instantly accessible, and so I'll check it out. So what I did here, a little bit of compression. I like the mono maker just to make sure the low end is right in the center. And the filters are great, like where you can bring up the top end while taking it off, because it just sounds so good. Just has a little crispiness. I love the low end on this. Usually I bring it down to 30, but that was a bit too mucho for this one. So that's going on with the kick. And now, of course, I would say unexpectedly a favorite plugin these days, the JST clip from Joe Sturgis Tones. It just has some kind of bite attitude to it, so I really love, and it's all over the place, even on vocals, and so there's a fair amount of clipping going on. Some of that, it's just a beautiful thing. And then everyone's favorite Pro Q3, just cutting some low end, a little bit of 85.688, a little bit more mid, high mid, a little bit cut on 3, and taking off some. It's one of those things you don't really hear that much. It's more of a mix thing. So that's the snare, but I mean, sorry, the kick. But there's also the Things Crusher, where you get more of that grit going on. And here we go into Slate Digital. Let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, typical me, just crank it. I wish it went to 11. It doesn't go to 11, but 10 is good. Just for that added saturation. And of course the Neve type EQ, a little bit more low end, mid, and the top end from SSL. And of course the FG Stress, which is pretty badass, because you can see I'm slamming it pretty hard here. And then this for volume. And of course, again, this clipper, and that one goes way more, because this FX channel is just slightly mixed into with the rest. It's not, really loud. It just gives you more beef overall, and I kind of mix it sometimes, more in the chorus, maybe less here and there. Snare. So first snare, so you could call that like an EDM type snare. And then a hip hop snare, I know, right? Oh my god. One of those guys are in there, hey? What I love about these hip hop snares is they just have this awesome transient to it and tone. Like, you just, when you mix it in, you can't really hear it, But when you take it out, it's a little bit of that gone. And what I did to it is use a stereo delay to get that Haas effect, so it's like way out there in the stereo field, so you get more of a stereo snare without ruining the punch in the middle. Hi-hats, nothing crazy here, just a good old, but it is being sidechained with the kick, so you get more of a groove to it instead of constantly. This really take all these together. I like that how the hi-hat just kind of pops up in between the other drum hits, which I feel makes it more alive. The Blurp perk has just a little bit of EQ. I don't know, the norm these days, don't low cut everything. It's good to, like, why not take stuff out of a sound that doesn't need to be there? It's that simple. So that's for the drums. Oh yeah, let's play all the drums with and without the FX channel. Oh yeah, there's another clipper too. Actually, this is the clipper. See, never mind. So if you take this off the drums, it's more like sweeter. Let's just loop this section. So, and then I turn them on. This is where you get that attitude from. And generally on the drum bus itself, I have this on, the NLS bus stereo. Just sounds good. Didn't really put any distortion because there's already a lot of distortion in here. And again, Slate going very gentle on that compression, but something about it adds some more transient. A little bit of top end from Revival. In hindsight, maybe I could have used a bit less of that saturation, or bring it down in a mix a little bit more. But again, that's the thing, never listen to things on their own, like how does it sound in the mix, when it's all done. So I'll just leave it where it was-ish. What else? Yeah, I'm going to press that, and then Infinity EQ, probably just some, brought a lot of stuff up. Again, cutting the low end a little bit. There's a lot of bass going on in there. Nothing crazy there. And then this compressor, I like it on drums. Just brings it all together. All right, so that was the drums. Let's check out the synths. And again, everyone's favorite, the bass line. So that's the riff. I believe, the 99.99% sure this is from Serum. I always keep like a version of the song with pre-rendered the MIDI files if I ever need to go back. But once I'm at the finishing stage, I like to just mostly keep the audio. So let's see what's going on in there without all the plugins. You can hear it's less powerful, and there's some kind of naggy 3K-ish frequency going on. So let's see what we got going on here. Track spacer, very cool, very cool. Probably sidechaining with the kick, and some bass. All right, we'll talk about that later. Let's go to the EQ. Wow, a lot of mid boosting again. There's actually 3 track spacers on this. There's all reasons for it. This one does the snare, which helps bring the snare out. When things get dense, I just like to push it out quickly. So, So there's, and the clipper, a little bit more moderate, but really, again, adds that attitude. Get this plugin if you make music with balls and aggression. This is amazing. Sometimes check your level, it gets louder. So another track spacer that gets dimmed out by the vocals a little bit. So I'm suspecting more in the mid range. Yeah, anything above 924. And then just a little bit of peak shaping or keeping the transient at bay. Because as you can see, it just bounces up and down. So you want a more even file, because again, it all comes down to the final output, and if you have these little random peaks all over the place, it's gonna mess with your levels. So then there's the accents. Basically an octave up, a little bit different sound. No plugins on it, so I probably render it out. Fairly heavy, high passed, 160 hertz. You see, this is a perfect example of why I low pass. Look, if I didn't do it, you'll see all that stuff here. Don't need it, because that's coming from the other bass sound. So just get rid of that. And honestly, it doesn't affect the sound at all. Those two together. So I guess I get more tone, to hear the note a bit better. Let's see what else is going on here. And intro res, let's find out. I believe that also was the Serum. I use multipass a lot for just the Haas effect. The kilohertz bundle, pretty awesome stuff. And again, a track spacer. A track spacer that isn't used. Well, we don't worry about that. Sometimes things are left in for no reason, apparently. This tonal, so there's this sample that I've mangled a bit, I think. It was rendered. Yeah, a sample that I just distorted the shiznit out of. So that I like to add. I love distorted sounds like that, but it also just creates like a texture, an atmosphere. And there's texture D, unlike tenacious D. Like a little riser. Ooh, quite nice. I love the contrast between dirty, filthy sounds and like beautiful, clean sounds. Even though maybe in the mix you won't really hear that too much. Tinnitus, yes, because we spell awesomely here. Yeah, a little bit more of a riser. Then there's one of my samples. And again, here it comes in reverse. I just love sounds like that. Okay, let's see what other synths are going on. Diverse bleep. That's a cool one. Just kind of adds that. That's also a sound I made in Serum, because that's how we roll. Serum everywhere on everything, even your... Yeah, anyway. All right, so let's see what else is going on. Let's move it to the halftime. Here we got a bass line, but going in a different note a little bit. Or change it up a bit. And then the accents. And then of course, like crazy Serum, almost drum and bassy kind of sound. There's some track spacer probably with the kick, so the kick, when the kick comes in, it takes some of that low end out, just so it just won't be too much of low end shit. A bit of an alarmy sound. Intro res, oh yeah, so that's a little bit of that going on. Just to kind of, so all synths playing. Let's just play just the synths in the halftime. Let's just jump to the chorus. I'm trying to not make this video too long, you know. Chorus, a lot of the same stuff, just, you know, the notes. Kind of a classic EBM industrial riff. Oh yeah, let's do that one after. So there's the accent. I went to main chorus melody. This one took me a while because I wanted like a melodic element to sort of be on top of the bass line. And at this time, I haven't heard the vocals yet or knew who the vocalist was going to be for this. But I kind of wanted like a bit of harmonic content on top of the bass. Yeah, again, sidechain with the kick and snare, so always making sure there's those sounds come out. Like snares can tend to get lost. Kick sometimes too, and also for the groove part of it, it just, I don't know, it just adds a groove to it versus very static and not so, almost dare I say human element. Just ugly as shit strings because we like that. Hearing these clicks in there, but guess what? In the mix, you're not going to hear it. In the same tonal thing. So I love something about hanging one notes on top of chord changes. So if I just play the melodic stuff. Sounds cool, you know? It sounds cool. Let's see, what other elements? So yeah, other halftime, same dealo. Second verse. Oh yeah, second verse, we do have this additional riff. Okay, if Cubase can listen to my commands. It's like a kind of gnarly, bit questionable EQing going on, but always some shit going on in this frequency range that whether it's just me or in general, this is where things can get nasty, especially when you have like all distorted things going on. You want to make sure this area is sort of in check. Yeah, it just tames it a bit. And of course, the clipper. I just love that clipper. It's just beautiful, beautiful thing. So yeah, that goes on top of the bass line. Try that first beat. Turn the hi-hats just for the rhythm. I'm trying to, as you can see here, I find sometimes it's easy to forget, but also like the arrangements where sounds are. So not everything is at the same time all the time. Like here you can see the bleep isn't hitting, except from a couple places where the blurp is hitting. So let's just play just those two. So you can see that they're like hitting at separate times, with exceptions from a couple of hits here. So like kind of helps give space. And then there's a little bridge, breakdown, build up, whatever the fuck you want, whatever you want to call it. Oh yeah, brings me to one of my other favorite plugins these days. Like I use it almost too much. The Arturia Tape Mellowify. Such a cool plugin. It's like one of those simple ones, but it just has all the right stuff right there. Drive. Wow, it's not on 100, but hey, close enough. Didn't use the tone, brought the noise down. No mechanics, sound, noise, no wear. A lot of flutter, which I'll go to, and then the filter here. So the top end has been cut out a bit. Let's check it out. Makes it more like a angsty, right? The flutter is behind that, of course. can have fun with the wow too sometimes. And this beautiful stop tape function. Just, you know, without it. It's like so pretty and gentle. Nope. And here we're not afraid to crush the out of things. I'm just keeping in mind this is going on YouTube, and they're like getting pretty spicy about using. They're getting spicy about adults using words that are intended for adults, I guess. Okay, scream hook. So yeah, here's with the massive bass hit. And then we have a few other elements. Just to create some angst, alarm. Why not change it around? Probably samples. I'm not afraid to use samples. I find parts of samples. I pitch. I do whatever I feel like. If they do what I need them to do, if it fits what I need it to be. Like here, there's an ambient effects from. Oh yeah, that's. So if we play all the synths from the halftime scream and drop. So what's going on there? Of course, the chorus, same dealo. Yeah. It's been a couple of months since I finished it. And that's pretty much it for synths in here. Let's just close that up to effects. Well, sometimes I don't put things in effects, they just end up in the synth section. And now, of course, the vocals. Azul from the True Union. I was doing some production for her EP, and then after hearing her voice and what she was capable of, I was like, shit, I should ask her if she was interested. Luckily, she was. And the stuff that's in the final mix that you see in front of you is the first stuff she sent me. And was like, it's a demo. I'm like, no, this is amazing. Like, I was blown away when I heard it the first time. Like, the cool melodic content and those growls and screams, like, perfect for this song. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, there's the song. Instantly, I was just like, holy beep. All right, so anyway, let's just go through what's going on here. First part that I really dug was this. This feels it makes the intro, like, without it. Right? And with it, it's like. Of course, then we got these, I don't know what to call them, ad-libs. Like, sort of prepare yourself for what's about to come vocals. This is the vocals without any processing on. I just want them to be a bit more radio kind of, hello, this is your captain. Or radio phone-ish. And to get that effect, instant favorite, of course, is this guy.
When will this end? When will this end?
Boom. Some EQ, because, you know, I want to remove that low end.
When will this end?
A little bit of craziness going on with EQ, but that's okay. De-esser by unquestionably my favorite DSR these days. The Lindell 902. Can get it from Plugin Alliance. Sponsorship.
When will this end?
That means I'm not sponsored, but would be cool.
When will this end?
Not crazy de-essing, just a little bit of that. And a Waves plugin. Yeah, I guess I brought up some more of the mid-range.
When will this end?
Just to help that radio vibe a little bit. All right. And then, of course, the scream. So good. Probably just some basic EQing. And again, Mr. Tape. 1 secundo, that's my phone. Here I just use it mostly for the drive. Cut a little bit of the top end off. And then as saturation distortion adds more frequencies, just cutting a little bit top and low, and that's it. And then I decided to get creative and use this plugin from Slate. And I pitched it down 1 octave, a little bit of dimension, some reverb, and that's it. So you get the same, but I don't know, just together, just like. So you kind of get 2 kinds of growls happening. Okay, so the verse. Let's jump into the verse. Oh, suddenly I sounded so. Hang on, more coffee. For some ADMS or whatever the fuck it's called. So this is the verse vocal.
Empire turns to dust. I see it go down, observing the collapse. I ride against the tide. I won't comply, not here, not there. No ho, no host.
Let's play a bit of it without processing.
Turns to dust.
Still sounds great. Like this is the file I got from Azul. Like that's so some de-essing going on.
Turns to dust.
Pretty heavy there. Slate in action with some saturation, a little bit of compression and EQ.
Turns to dust.
Just brings it more energy. Yeah. Don't look at this EQ setting.
Empire turns to dust.
Mostly controlling certain frequencies. Another de-esser. Yeah, there was a lot of happening here.
Turns to dust.
Because again, the saturation adds more of everything. So then a reverb. One of my favorite reverbs, just because it just have so many flavors to choose from.
Empire turns to dust.
Just makes it, what's the word, bigger, more depth, then more control probably here.
Empire turns to dust.
Yeah, a little bit more of de-essing happening. And that goes into vocal bus, which just have some basic, more EQ a little bit here and there. This is for the whole group. Oh yeah, and this for all the vocals, so it's like limited. Again, to just maximize the volume and so yeah, another vocal part in the verse is
Take control.
I like that kind of vocal.
I need need your mind and take control.
And there's this C there.
I need your mind and take control.
All the three together is.
I need your mind and take control.
And that's like right before it hits the half time. And here we get some more awesome This one is just clipped and distorted. Like I just wanted it to be almost uncomfortably in your face. Let's see. And then there's an answer vocal for the chorus.
We take one life, one down, one by one. Everybody one by one. All hell, oh well. One band rules them all.
So here we got some
Bow
like a
down.
doubler.
All hell, bow down. Oh well. One band rules them all.
And what can I say? Can never go wrong with one of these. I think it's such a... all this was Azul's idea. Like, these are all coming from her. It's pretty sweet. It just works. Just works so well. And then we have
Hail
some
to the
screaming screams.
brainwash masses. Hail to the brainwash masses.
Bit of EQ control and the trash clips. What did I do here? I wonder.
Hail to the brainwash masses.
Sometimes I just try to use a different tool. Just I feel instead of using the same EQ or the same distortion on everything, if you use a little bit of different things, it will create more depth in your mix. Is kind of my theory on that. All right, so then what else is, so yeah, second verse, all right, pre-second verse, this is the,
I'm willing to die. I will not comply. I've got nothing to lose. Yes, I will not comply. Not here, not there. No, no. When will this end?
same thing here, when will this end? I'm gonna add a vocoder here just to, okay, if I can just hear the vocoder. Just to kind of add another texture, I just thought it sounded cool. Then we have this one. This is so good, and it just fits so well in the song. It's just like, I guess Azul's metal, black metal background just kicks in full force there, and it just works so well. So yeah, I try to get these two to work together. So there's this word. So he's like panic and then wow, all trash, wow. So I do.
One life.
Then go into the chorus again. We're about to hit one of my favorite vocal parts. That wasn't it, although this is amazing. But there's this scream that is like, or I wanted to use that all over the song, but I was like, oh, let's keep it to one specific spot. Some cool harmonies going on there.
Bow down.
will do.
Bow down.
Oh yeah, there we go. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for this? Sorry, I'm teasing this one right here. Just like when that happens in the song, I'm just it just sounds so massive.
God, thy kingdom come. God, thy kingdom come. God, thy kingdom come. I ride again.
And that's what I see here is again the contrast. I just look mega screaming and
God, thy kingdom come. I ride against the tide. I will not comply, no. Not here, not there. No hope, no hope, no, no.
then the final hang on. So the final vocal parts are this one. I left all the stuff in between for a couple of reasons. Mainly one reason. Sound like Monty Python there for a second. Because you can hear the breathing, like the human just like in there. Just adds some kind of spooky texture. Without the covers. If you're asking why did you take all that top end off, because top end here, there's a lot of top end, so you got to make that decision. What needs to have the top end? Obviously, by taking the top end off a bit, it sounds more further away, which also is the intent. Because I wanted this to be all right. It's almost like you know it's there, but it's just not. How does this sound? And the song ends with one of my, what do you call them, impact sounds that I made. And as it wasn't distorted enough, I added more. Love the the transformers on the Saturn. Good stuff. And that's the song and what's going on. However, I was thinking I should show what's going on in my master bus, because as you can see, there's a few things. If I mute that awkward moment, be like, oh, that doesn't sound we can see it's hitting pretty high. But yet it's not doing crazy amount of limiting. That comes from all that saturation, the clipping. I actually have a clipper on the master. I know. That's how good it is. Sure, it's a little bit cleaner sounding without it. Some may even argue, hey, that sounds better. Well, Besides, I have it on 80%, so it's letting some of the cleanness out. So the first thing in the master bus here is, yeah, I mixed a bit loud, get excited. It's just like, yeah. And I feel music is a lot about that. Don't get caught up in the technical shit, as long as, you keep yourself in check at the same time. So luckily this thing exists, so I just brought it down quite a bit just to get it to and I do like to use the mix glue preset, adjusting the attack release and of course how much of it sometimes. Find it just kind of brings everything together. A smidgen, and then some EQ. One could argue that sounds better, but I think it's good when you release something and a bit after you hear it, you're like, oh, I should have done that instead of that. That's a good thing. And then, of course, one of my favorite EQs for like either a master or sometimes drum buses, this Better Maker. Like, you listen to how like gentle it sounds. And then another favorite, the black box. So good. Saturation again. A trick I do is I have it on mid side always, like 100% of the time. On the mid, I boost the pentode, but on the side, I boost the triode, which helps separating those a little bit. So you get a bit of a wider, fuller mix without really doing too much. Constantly pushing the limits of like, when is it too saturated? And then of course the clipper. And a preset I tend to go for here, again, adjusting as depending on the tempo or whatever, is the EDM Punch 02 BM. Because it kind of helps the mid top come together more, so it's not so much. Sometimes I don't use it, but when I do, there's a reason. Maybe a little bit, just a little bit. And of course the limiter. So yeah, that's the whole song and everything in it. Hope you liked that video. I'll definitely be doing more of that. Maybe some of the other songs from the EP. Just write me in the comments down below. And let me know if you want to see any of this with any of the other songs. Also tell me what your favorite plugins are and why you use them. It's a lot of fun to work on music these days because of all the amazing tools we have accessible now. So anyway, have a great day, and I gotta go.